It was a warm summer evening, and a group of 6 teenagers were sitting around a campfire. They had just graduated high school and were looking for something to do before college started. One of them, a girl named Emily, spoke up. "I heard about this abandoned amusement park on the outskirts of town," she said. "It's supposed to be cursed or something. Who wants to check it out?" The others exchanged nervous glances. They had heard the rumors too, but none of them were sure if they wanted to risk it. Finally, a boy named Josh spoke up. "Come on, guys," he said. "We're not scared of a stupid curse. Let's go check it out." The others nodded hesitantly. They knew they would regret it if they didn't go, but they couldn't shake the feeling of dread that was settling in their stomachs. The teenagers piled into Josh's car and drove to the amusement park. As they pulled up to the gates, they could see that the park was in a state of disrepair. The paint was peeling, and the rides looked rusty and old. "This place gives me the creeps," said one of the girls, named Lily. "Relax," said Josh. "It's just an old park. Let's go explore." They hopped the fence and started walking around the park. It was quiet and still, and the only sounds were the creaking of the rides in the wind. They took turns climbing on the old rides, snapping pictures, and exploring the abandoned booths. But as the sun began to set, the park started to come to life. The teenagers were wandering through the park when they heard a loud noise. They turned around to see the Ferris wheel slowly creaking into motion, even though there was no wind. "Oh, guys," said Emily nervously. "Did you see that?" Suddenly, the other rides started to move too. The roller coaster roared to life, and the carousel began spinning in circles. The teenagers were frozen in place, unable to move as the rides whirred around them. And then, the clowns appeared. The clowns emerged from the shadows, their faces twisted into grotesque grins. They carried balloons and juggling pins, and they began to approach the teenagers. "Welcome to our park," said the lead clown, his voice cold and menacing. "We've been waiting for you." The teenagers tried to run, but the clowns were too fast. They cornered them, and the teenagers could see the malice in their eyes. They were trapped. The teenagers were taken to a small, dark room in the back of the park. They were tied to chairs and left alone with their thoughts. But their thoughts soon turned to nightmares. Emily saw visions of her dead parents, their bodies twisted and broken. Lily saw her worst fears come to life as a clown with razor-sharp teeth descended upon her. Josh saw himself falling off a roller coaster, his body mangled and broken on the ground. The nightmares continued, night after night. The teenagers couldn't escape the park, and they couldn't escape their own minds. Days turned into weeks, and the teenagers were growing weaker by the day. But one night, they managed to break free. They untied themselves from their chairs and ran through the park, dodging the clowns and the rides that were still moving on their own. The teenagers ran out of the park, gasping for breath. They collapsed on the ground, relieved to be outside of the cursed amusement park. But their relief was short-lived. As they looked up, they realized that the park was no longer abandoned. The clowns had followed them out, and they were advancing, their grins wider and more twisted than ever. The teenagers scrambled to their feet and ran towards Josh's car. They jumped in, but the engine wouldn't start. Panic set in as the clowns closed in. Come on," Josh muttered, desperately turning the key. Finally, the engine sputtered to life, and Josh slammed his foot on the gas pedal. The car peeled out of the parking lot, leaving the cursed amusement park and the clowns behind. The teenagers drove in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. They had narrowly escaped the cursed amusement park, but the memories would haunt them forever. As they pulled up to Emily's house, she turned to the others. "Promise me we'll never go back there," she said, her voice trembling. The others nodded, relief flooding through them. They knew they had been lucky to escape with their lives. But as they walked into their homes and tried to fall asleep that night, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. They knew the curse of the amusement park would never truly leave them, and that they would always be haunted by the clowns and the rides that came to life. The next day, the teenagers were still reeling from their experience at the cursed amusement park. They tried to go about their daily lives as usual, but the memories kept creeping back into their minds. As they talked about it at school, they realized that they weren't the only ones who had heard about the cursed amusement park. Several other students had also heard the rumors, but no one had ever dared to visit the park before. The teenagers felt a sense of responsibility to warn others about the danger that lay within the park's gates. They decided to create a flyer warning people about the park's curse and the danger of the clowns and rides that came to life. They spent the next few days distributing the flyers throughout the town. They put them up on bulletin boards, handed them out to pedestrians, and left them on car windshields. Their efforts were successful, and soon everyone in town knew to stay away from the cursed amusement park. But the teenagers couldn't shake the feeling that they needed to do more. They couldn't let anyone else experience what they had gone through. They decided to contact the local authorities and report the cursed amusement park. They explained everything that had happened to them and urged the authorities to investigate. The authorities were skeptical at first, but the teenagers' convincing testimony and the number of people who had been warned about the park persuaded them to take action. A team of investigators was dispatched to the park, and they discovered that it was indeed cursed. They found evidence of dark magic and witchcraft, and they discovered that the clowns were actually malevolent spirits that had been summoned by a group of witches. The authorities immediately shut down the park and arrested the witches responsible for the curse. The park was never reopened, and it remained abandoned for years to come. The teenagers were hailed as heroes in their town. They had saved countless lives by warning people about the cursed amusement park and reporting it to the authorities. They were grateful to have escaped with their lives, and they knew that they had made a difference in their community. The memory of the cursed amusement park stayed with them for the rest of their lives, but they were proud to have turned their terrifying experience into something positive. They had faced their fears and emerged stronger, and they knew that they would always be there to protect their community from danger. Thank you for joining us for another bone-chilling horror story. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Remember, this has been a Horror a Day where nightmares come to life. If you want to keep the terror alive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Also, make sure to leave a comment telling us what haunting tale you'd like to hear for a chance to be featured in an upcoming video. And don't keep the fear to yourself. Share our videos with your friends and family. After all, nightmares are better shared. Until next time, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Good night.